If you've ever been in an abusive relationship, you've probably heard this question. If it's so bad, why don't you just leave? People ask it all the time. Sometimes out of concern, sometimes out of frustration, sometimes because they genuinely don't understand. But what most people don't realize is that abuse isn't just something that just happens to a person. It's something that slowly changes the way they see themselves, their options, and their future. People don't stay because they're weak. People stay because abuse creates traps. Some of those traps are emotional. Some are financial. Some are psychological. And some are built so slowly that a person doesn't even realize until they're already trapped inside of it. One of the biggest reasons people stay is called a trauma bond. A trauma bond is formed when a period of mistreatment is combined with periods of affection, apologies, and hope. The relationship becomes unpredictable. One day, they're cruel. The next day, they're loving. One day, they're threatening to leave. The next day, they're telling you that you are their soulmate. And because human beings are wired to seek connection, many people become attached to the relief that follows the pain. The cycle itself becomes addictive, and that can make leaving incredibly difficult. Another reason people stay is fear. Fear of being alone, fear of retaliation, fear of financial instability, fear of starting over, fear of what the abusive person might do if they leave. And for parents, one of the biggest fears of all, fear of losing their children. Many abusive people use children as leverage. They make threats. They convince their partner that nobody will believe them. They convince them they're a bad parent. They'll convince them that they'll lose custody. Whether those threats are true or not, they create enormous fear. And fear can keep people trapped for years. But there's another reason people stay that nobody talks about. Many victims aren't just afraid of leaving the relationship. They're afraid of what happens after, because sometimes the person who causes all the damage keeps all the support. Why? Because most people don't respond to truth. They respond to comfort. Abusive people are often very good at managing their image. They know how to be charming. They know how to be likable. They know how to make people laugh. They know how to appear calm and reasonable. Meanwhile, the victim often leaves exhausted, traumatized, emotional, confused, and overwhelmed. And society often judges the reaction instead of the cause. People see the wounded person and assume they're the problem. Not because they're right, because trauma isn't always pretty. Healing isn't always pretty. The truth is that some survivors lose friendships, relationships, and community after leaving. And that possibility terrifies many people. Again, not because they're weak, because they're human, because nobody wants to lose their entire support system. Eventually, many survivors reach a painful realization. Being believed by everyone is not what heals you. Believing yourself is. Understanding that your experience matters. Understanding that your pain was real. Understanding that someone else's charm does not erase what happened behind closed doors. And understanding that public likability is not proof of private character. If you're struggling to leave an abusive relationship, I want you to hear this. The fact that it feels difficult does not mean you're weak. The fact that you're afraid does not mean you're failing. The fact that you're still there does not mean you deserve what's happening. Abuse creates conditions that leaves leaving incredibly difficult. And understanding those conditions is often the first step toward breaking free. In the next video, we're going to talk about how people leave safely, how to prepare, and what recovery can look like once freedom becomes possible. This is the Introverted Coach guiding you home. I love you all. Stay golden, and I will see you in the next one.